from the woods. Take on 45. Life is good. And it probably should. There's comments here in Nashville neighborhood. It's free. Life is good. There's always shooting down in the woods. You probably will be good. 'Cause life is good. You really be good. 'Cause life is good.
Yes, Hickok 45, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the beautiful hills of Tennessee, the home of Alvin York. Yes, proud of him. So glad you're here, and I'm here, kinda. Yeah, well, sorta, yeah, really, I am here, I think. When you see this, I could be somewhere else. Well, no, I'll be home by now. Yeah, that's right, I'll be home by now. That's kind of a weird thing to say in a video, isn't it? I'm here by now. Yeah, by now. The magic of recording, right? Now I'm going off to meet and greet this week. As you should know, I surely have met some of you yesterday, and so I'm a little early this week because I'm going to Kentucky. Yes, so I can feel smart. Yeah. Hang out in Kentucky makes me feel brilliant. I broke a tooth this morning, so I'm having trouble talking, but I'm going to talk anyway. Get it fixed hopefully in a couple of days. But yeah, I'm here, and it's great. It's green. It's a nice warm August day. What are we, the 13th? Yeah, August the 13th, trucking right along, 189. So hope I can make it to 200 Sunday shoot-arounds, and maybe 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 1,000. Yeah. So yeah, speaking of that, what did Mark Twain say? The reports of my death are greatly exaggerated. Somebody posted somewhere, I think somebody actually told me where they saw it, I don't know, but anyway, I get these messages every now and then to see if I'm still alive, you know, or I'll see a comment about that. People think I'm underground, man. Yeah, I'm on the wrong side of the grass. Yeah, so you know how rumors get started, and and somebody wrote me on Facebook, actually asked me if I was alive, and I said, yeah, as far as I know, I think I am, but check the Sunday videos. That'll be that'll tell you, right? So anyway, it's a funny world, isn't it? Funny world. Wow. So yeah, here, saw a bunch of it buds, I'm sure, yesterday, and Lexington, and the day before probably, and was at the Contemporary Long Rifle Association in Lexington, and met some of you there. So you know, all is good, all is good. I actually get off the farm occasionally, right? So I'll let you know how all that went next week, and don't forget the 2 meet and greets in September also. September the 2nd is where, yeah, Sevierville is September the 2nd, and then September the 23rd is in Greenville at Uncle Lee's in Greenville, Kentucky. Okay, September 23rd. September the 2nd, Sevierville, Tennessee, in case you didn't know where Sevierville was. It buds in Sevierville, Tennessee, and all of them are at 11 o'clock. Okay, 11 to 12. If you're there, you know, I'm not going to leave till I get a chance to hug you. Scary thought. So anyway, good to see you, and I'll be seeing more of you, and I see you every day. So I get out and around. So what do I have? Well, I just, hard to believe I was in the mood to bring this out, but you know, I noticed I was looking at my records and realized I bought this, and why have I been confused about that over the years? I know I've gone back and forth. I think even in videos, I apologize if I lied to you. I think I've mentioned I bought it in '84 sometimes, and sometimes I mention '83. And rather than look at the records, I'm thinking back to where I lived at the time. And I had a little log house on a hill in Franklin, Tennessee, south of Franklin. And I bought it when I lived there, and you know, I would get a little confused. That's a long time ago where I bought it. As soon as I moved in, where it was in, I was about to move out there, but it was 83. In fact, it was like June the 6th, I looked up the date. I think it was June the 6th. And yeah. So guess what? That's 40 years. 40 years to have an AR-15. So I've been a mercenary, a terrorist, since 83. Can you believe that? I remember when I bought this. I'll tell you where I bought it too. Well, I can't tell you the name of the shop now. Some of you would know. It's in Columbia, Tennessee. Okay? It was because that wasn't all that far from where I lived, south of Franklin. And I went down shopping at. It was called Bear Creek Shooter Supply. Sorry about my teeth problem. The Bear Creek Shooter Supply is what it was called, I think, for a lot of years, actually. And that's what it was when I bought this there. Well, it's a log cabin gun shop, still is. It's changed ownership and names. I forget what the name of it is now. I'll have to stop by there again. I do stop by. I haven't been by there in probably a year, but I stop by when I'm in that area sometimes. And yeah, they got a back room. Yellow Jackets are bad again this week. And I remember seeing it in the back room and thinking, man, I need one of those. I had already bought, had I? Yeah, I'd already bought my Uzi and the HK 93 as far as evil black rifles. And I thought, you know, I might need an AR. I never saw that thing. I wasn't shopping for it, but I saw it and shouldered it and thought, yeah, I need one of these, man. The U.S. rifle, buying these other. And I actually traded a pistol for it, 22 pistol, maybe even something else for it. And what was it? It was $500 or $600, I believe. So come on now, don't sting me. Don't sting me. I don't want to cry on video. It may happen this week. So as you see, it's in good shape. We need to do an anniversary video this year, don't we? It really is like new. It's like it's hardly a scratch on it. I've dragged it out several times every year that I've owned it, I guess, or a time or two. It may have sat for a year or two and I didn't, but then it'll go through spells. But big old musket, as they call it, right? Big old musket. And I was going to say, when I pulled it off the shelf and looked at it or saw it on the shelf, it didn't occur to me that's a big old rifle, like it would to you all now, and me too. It is. Speaking of rifle muskets, like I had out last week, you know, it's kind of like that. As compared with all the cool little, you know, M4 carbines and that sort of thing. And most of my ARs are not this length. This is what, a 20-inch barrel. And of course your stock's not adjustable or anything. And as you see, I've not done anything to this one. It would be a little bit of a sacrilege to take the, I don't know, change out hand guards and stocks and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's a kind of a piece of history. You know, 40 years. This was state of the art of the AR in, you know, 83. And so, and you know, you can go buy ARs today for reasonable prices, and configuration you want, all that, shorter ones. So I'm just going to leave this one exactly as it was when I bought it. I'm not going to try to improve the grip, anything like that. Put a red dot on it. I'm just not going to do that. I can do that with others. So it's pretty cool, I have to say, to have had it so long. And I remember being so enamored with it when I got it, because it was the first AR-15 I'd ever had, and first one I'd ever fired, I guess. Yeah, I didn't know anybody that had one. I mean, I was a weirdo back then. Well, I'm still a weirdo, but I was a weirdo as relates to firearms I would buy. And you know, so 84, my first AR. I guess I got the Uzi in 83. It might have been early 83. Yeah, I don't know. Can't keep track of all. But anyway, pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm going to shoot at some. What else do you want to know? You had a lot of stuff on the list. I don't want to talk the whole time, but I did have a couple of things. We're still fighting the red flag laws in Tennessee. The Tennessee Firearms Association is really the tip of the spear on that, and doing a great job. Hopefully we'll be successful there. Speaking of gun control, someone left a comment on a video, and I see this fairly often wherever, articles or whatever, about how such and such president is the reason, I don't know, we got the Hughes Amendment, or we got the Gun Control Act, or we got all these different things, or the reason bump stocks are banned, or the reason whatever is banned, okay? And they'll lambaste the president of the United States over that. It's like, that's Reagan's bill, or it's a Bush bill, or an Obama bill, or whoever it might be. You know, that was their doings. And sometimes it is, if they're an avid anti-gunner, right? Or even if they're not, it could be there, or it could be blame it on Trump, blame it on, didn't name any president, Clinton. One thing you want to think about, though, remember, a lot of shallow thinkers in the world, right? You want to do your research too, though. Sometimes it was, there's that bad word, compromise, of course, but it could be a situation sometimes where the president has the party that has the White House, just has the White House, and does not have the majority in Congress or the Senate, and so things are flying like crazy, and guns are about to be banned totally, or any semi-automatic, or it's crazy time, and so there is some kind of compromise that took place, and it's a reason that came about, and that doesn't make it right necessarily. But just be aware of that. Because when you hear that, say, oh yeah, that was an Obama law, or that was a Bush law, or a Reagan law, or whoever, it conjures up images of, where's my pen, of the president, whatever name, is sitting around one night thinking, you know what, I don't like 30-round magazines. I think I'm going to start writing a bill to outlaw those. Or I make a note to myself to talk to Congress, the right people tomorrow, and let's get this going. We don't need, but it usually doesn't start that way from the president. Now it might, if it's a anti-gunner again, but just be aware. We all know that. Think about how it is right now, all the stuff and the arguments and the fighting over this, and bills that come through, and they're crazy. They're really on the crazy train, and then they get watered down, or this happens, or whatever. But anyway, we all know that. I'm just pointing that out. It's easy to have a simplistic look at things, black and white, look at things, and it's just the way it goes. Oh, I got a pet peeve. I got a rant. No, it's not a rant. It's one of those first world pet peeves, things that I watch a lot of videos, different things. And one of the things that, to me, I'm really bringing this up to see if you're like me, dangerous, right? People who are making a video, and like every other sentence, they are inserting a piece of a video, a cartoon or something, or something stupid, and they think it's funny. And I think I have a good sense of humor. I love comedy, and I crack enough lame jokes myself. I like things that are funny. But to me, that is never funny. It's beyond not funny. It's below not funny. When, I don't know, how it is when someone says something, so, oh man, it was I don't know, they could just be talking about anything. I don't know, lawn tractors, or weed eaters, or mowers, or finance, or whatever it is. They say something about an elephant. Well, they just got to insert this little 2-second piece of a bunch of elephants running through the jungle or something, or some cartoon character smacking somebody upside the face and their back to them. Am I the only one that thinks that is so useless and unnecessary? My God, I have seen videos where it must have taken, you know, a long time to edit all that in for like no purpose. Just talk about what you're doing and explain it to us. And my gosh, that is just not funny. It's annoying. That's the thing. It's annoying. Like again, first world problem. It doesn't cause me to lose sleep, but I do watch a lot of videos, and when I see that, now you don't see you know, much of that on YouTube, and because you don't, and if there's a gun video maker that does that some, I'm not picking on, I can't even think of anybody in the gun world that does that, but if somebody does it in a gun video, there's probably somebody I really like that has done that or does it occasionally. That's a little different. It's just these videos where they're trying to convince you of something usually, and they just load up those videos to make them interesting. You know, or they think to make them interesting. Can I shoot this thing? Guess what caliber it is? I forget. There's a lot of new shooters in the world. Well, it is 5.56 or 223, right? That's what it is. And get my ears in tight. It might be old, but guess what? It's still very loud. How about a 2-liter explosion right here? Oh, it came at me. There you go. I don't know if you can see it. It's lying about 5 or 6 feet in this direction. All right. Again, another illustration. Just think Kennedy assassination. Okay. You don't always know by the reaction of the 2-liter. Oh, how did that happen? I actually moved over so I would not hit both of them. That's interesting. It redirected the bullet a little bit, the path of the bullet, just a little bit. Now, notice if you are new to firearms, maybe very new, you're looking at this thing, oh my gosh, he's got the military weapon there, okay? You notice those bowling pins didn't exactly go flying off there, right? Now, 2-liters react dramatically almost any time you shoot them with anything, or they can, but the bowling pins are kind of heavy. If this is a big, powerful military weapon, why don't those bowling pins go just rolling, you know? Go flying off. Sweet, sweet. There we go. Semi-auto. Sweet. This thing is a smooth one. As I recall, it always has been. It's not just because I've had it and fired it for 40 years. It just always had a smooth action on it. And yeah, I really, you know, again, these are not my very favorite firearm. If I had to give up my firearms by class, you know, we have all that series of videos, the last one I give up, maybe when I finish those, I'll do one, which class or category of firearms would would be last to give up, you know, like my lever guns, my ARs, or my double-action revolvers, or something like that, you know. Well, this one wouldn't be probably at the end, although for practical reasons, tactical, you know, I would hate to give them up, but I like them. They're fascinating and they're fun to shoot. I don't typically get them out. This is a little unusual. Like today, I was in the mood for get something else. I'm gonna get out whatever the heck I want, you know, and which I usually do. I don't have any new guns I'm experimenting with. I'm gonna pick up a couple tomorrow, I think. But you know, what would be cool to shoot? What would be fun to get out and head out in a while? And you know, this one came to mind. Yeah. But typically, if I'm going to come out and shoot, plink a little bit, have some time to shoot, just to mess around, it's not an AR that comes to mind. You know, I think the reason this one came to mind today was hadn't headed out in a good while, and it's Oh, well, I guess it has sentimental value. You know, I've had it so long. And, you know, my first one. And, you know, it's an A2. Now it has some A1 components. It's that old, you know, like the upper and everything. So it's actually, I think, mostly A1 components. But it's a mixture of A1, A2. It was a transitional gun. Actually had that on the box. I think it was, what, a brown label. And I think that indicated transition. So, you know, when gun manufacturers are changing over and they decide, they redesign the uppers as they did, 83, whatever, to, or maybe they decided we're going to start putting heavier barrels in our AR-15s, M16s, whatever, we're going to do this or that. Well, when they decide that and they gear up and start making them, well, it's not all cut and dried. They still have maybe 10,000 of the old barrels and old handguards, and you know, 1,000 upper. I don't know. You know, so they're not going to just throw those parts away, right? Because it's all good. So anyway, that's why it's considered a transition gun. But it is exactly the way it came from the factory. I bought it new in the box. One addition I did. Imagine that. Ironic, isn't it, that on one of the ugly guns, one of these, I don't have to use my slip-on pads to get the length. I actually found this, and it replaced the butt plate, and it's, as you can see, it's got some length on it, and yet it just blends right in. You might not even have noticed it. So it's great. It's just hard rubber, like it matters. 223 does not recoil a bit. Oh, speaking of that, I just saw Alabama Holster in my sights. Appreciate their support. Great little Kydex holsters, concealment, purse, belt, inside the waistband, outside the waistband, and all that kind of thing. Go to their website, alabamaholster.com. It's singular, alabamaholster.com. And check out their way. You will like those holsters. I've heard back from a lot of people already that have bought them and are really happy with them. So, what else? Anything else you want to know about? Gosh, no more rants. I'll tell you one thing. I saw a comment about it was on a Colt. I know it was on that 1874 Colt single action I have. And I guess in that video I made the comment that, you know, it's an original, and, you know, Billy the Kid, or White Earp, or all those people that we hear about, know about, read about, not only carried guns like this, but they might have carried that exact one. You know, that's the neat thing about having an original sometimes. Just like last week with my Civil War musket, rifle musket, you know, that was carried by somebody probably in the battles, you know. So that's really special. Not necessary, but it adds an element, a really special element, as you can imagine, right? But somebody said something about how Billy the Kid carried it, wouldn't be in that good a shape, probably, and probably maybe right. I don't know. And he was supposed to have carried I think a double action, 1878, is that the model? 78 or 79? 78, I think, the Colt double action. It's like a single action. Still loads through the loading gate and everything, but it's a double action, and it has a bird's head grip on it, I believe. I think they all did, yeah. Smaller grip. He had small hands, I think, and all that kind of stuff. So he probably did carry that. He's known for having carried that. And but I answered him. I seized that moment that yeah, it might have been worse shape, or and he carried a different. Supposedly he's known for carrying that bird's head pistol. But I've probably talked about this before. You know, when we think of White Earp or Wild Bill Hickok or Billy the Kid, and name them, famous lawmen, different. Now, a lot of them did carry the Colt single action that was so popular, you know, or the Smith & Wesson #3 or Schofield, but mostly the Colt, I guess. But we actually have specific gun models we associate with those famous characters of the West, don't we? Uh, like, uh, well, Wild Bill Hickok, his Navy Colts, percussion Colts, you know. He carried a pair of them. And Wyatt Earp carried Colt single action. The buntline stuff was all, but basically myth, you know, his long barrel, that long barrel. And that derives, I think, from, his wife, after he was dead, or his daughter, or somebody made a comment in an interview that they asked about what gun he carried or something years later, and he said, well, it was one of those, a Colt or whatever, with a long barrel. So that's, now of course Ned Buntline did make a lot of guns like that for people, present them or whatever. But it wasn't anything he carried. If he ever owned one, I think there's no evidence that he even owned one, much less carried one of those stupid, nobody would carry a stupid revolver with a barrel that long on it. And unless you're carrying it as your rifle, scabbard or something. But it brings up the issue. Think about this. I hate to introduce common sense because we don't want to ruin our history, do we? Our myths and our fantasies and our ideas. You know, think of Wild Bill Hickok, man. I think of those Navy Colts and all that. And he did carry those. Oh, and then was it James? Frank James, I mean, carried Smith & Wesson #3, I believe, you know, top break and all that. So we think of those lawmen or outlaws in terms of what firearm they carry and everything. But think about it. That's probably mostly based on the times when, I don't know, something happened or there was a picture taken of them carrying that, or for a fact, you know, pretty much for a fact, we know that in some shootout that Wild Bill used the Navy Colt, which he did, you know, and that kind of thing. And there's pictures of him carrying them, you know, and he had a sash he'd wear it and have them tucked in it, you know, kind of thing. But like today, how many different firearms, if you carry guns, if you're fortunate enough to live, you know, in a free environment, which is most of the United States, how many different firearms have you carried or owned, right? If I think of my carry guns, now somebody could at some point in time say, oh yeah, that's Hickok, he carries a Glock 19 or something, or he carries I mean, think about it. Some of my favorite guns, there's probably 5 or 6 that I've carried extensively, and they're quite different maybe. Glock 43X, Glock 19, Glock 27, and all these on a regular basis for periods of time. Glock 19, of course, the revolvers, the 642, the Kimber I got now, and others, the SIG, P365. So, you know, my point is, they might have carried a lot of different guns, and just so happened during a period of time when, I don't know, they were involved in robbing the most stagecoaches, or they had their picture taken, that's what they happened to have, you know. And then it's hard to know anyway from that long a time. So we don't want to take probably any of that as the gospel, I guess. I know Hickok was a bit flamboyant in some ways. He was a real deal. He was a pistolero for sure. But I mean, he would, I don't want to criticize him. I've read a couple, 3 books on him. He had a lot of personality. He was but he had those 2 Navy Colts percussion revolvers presented to him by, who was it? The mayor or the governor or some city or something, I forget where. And and they were beautiful and everything, and I think they were engraved, and so you know, he was really proud of those. He carried those a lot, and he had them in the sash and all that, and then he could shoot them. He could shoot anything, and he was known for carrying those, I think, for a long time, and shooting them, and was in shootouts with them. But I read he carried when the cartridges came along, he what was it? He carried. I mean, he wasn't alive a long time after like the Colt single action was around. I think he might have carried, was it the open top for a while, and probably a Colt single action at times. And when he was killed, he had shot in the back of the head. He had a Smith & Wesson cartridge gun on him. It was I think it was a little, was it a number 2? They had their number 1, which was what, 22 caliber. The number 2 was a little bit bigger, and 32 or something. I think I read he had one of those on him. That's the gun he had on him, when he died. So, you don't know for sure what somebody carried. We get this idea in our head that Billy the Kid never carried anything in his entire life except that bird's head double action Colt or whatever, and it's probably not true. Just like you, if someone asks all your friends what your carry gun is, all your close friends, your gun buddies, they might be able to make a pretty good guess at it, but it would be based on what you've been carrying lately, probably, right? So I knew that was all bothering you, and you all wanted to get that clarified. I want to thank Wideners.com for the ammo sponsorship. Check any description. You get $15 off for a $200 order. Don't forget that. Wideners.com. Just check the description. So, anything else? I don't think so. Let me take a couple shots of this thing. I don't want to wear it out. I want it to last a long time. Yeah. If you're new to the channel, you might be surprised. Probably not, if you've seen many videos and all the crazy guns that we have fired. But if you just tuned in last Sunday for the first time, and that's the only video you've ever seen, first of all, I don't know why you came back. Well, maybe it's because you love muzzle loaders, and that's the only reason you found that video. You saw the thumbnail or something, and now you're back and you're severely disappointed because this is not a muzzle loader. Yeah, variety, spice of life. Variety. You notice I brought out the metal magazines. I just couldn't put a P mag in this thing. Those things didn't exist back then, right? Let's hit that milk carton. Oh man, I wounded the cowboy. Hope it didn't hurt him. Oh, somebody left a bottle of Clorox hanging over here. Did you notice that? Must have got a better hit on him that time. Actually, it's water. Okay, got him. Really got to paint that front sight. I say that, I think, every time I get it out. Yeah, man, that thing is something. It's a sweet shooter. That's great. Scratch my phone. A sweet shooter. Yeah, it's got the long gas system, rifle, and of course it is a fairly larger, heavy version of the AR-15. And it's neat. It's interesting how these things have kind of made a comeback. They've become collectible, these early ARs and such, and because when the carbines initially got more popular in collapsible stocks and all that kind of thing, I looked at this thing as, oh man, a piece of, well, not junk, but it just, it'd be hard to sell if I wanted to sell it, in whenever, 1990, 1992 or something, or three. This is not what people are looking for. But wow, now they've really become collectible. I wouldn't sell this one just because it's been with me so long. This is we're getting down to I don't know what my oldest guns are. I need to rank them. by age with me, time with me. Uh, Time is a partner with me. Of course, I got my Model 29 44 Magnums, the longest, other than the guns I got from Dad, but that I bought new would be that and this. And yeah, I don't know. I let the Uzi get away. I'll have to do that one day. Maybe the top 5 oldest guns that I've hung out with, that I bought, or traded for, whatever. So it's pretty neat. Pretty neat. Been reliable the whole time too. Yeah, you got to have metal magazines for one of these. It's kind of like my Chinese AK. I just, I use metal mags in it. Just seems right, Now in my Arsenal's AKs, I use the Circle 10, which are really, really good magazines. I mean, it's kind of an aesthetic thing. It's not a big deal, but anyway, so pretty cool. Anything else? Probably not. I went on my rant last week about nutrition and all that, finance, and not trusting people. Let me just finish up with that by making sure I at least, because I can't tell you anything, I'm not an expert, but just again, the names, the doctors, look up people that you can trust on that kind of thing. I was gaining, speaking of that though, I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit since Christmas, I guess, November, December. Got to drinking coffee again, and I just have to have it sweet if I'm going to drink it, put junk in it, and I got addicted to that. Just thoroughly enjoyed sitting out on the swing, having coffee every morning, reading, and I would drink 2 or 3 cups of that. I got to eat ice cream more often than I should. I picked up almost 15 pounds, and you might have noticed. And I just a couple weeks ago, I said, okay, I'm not feeling as good. This is crazy. I've put too much into this. I know too much. I've read way too much. I know what sugar and sweetness and carbohydrates do to the mitochondria and how it reacts at the cellular level. I've studied that enough. I've listened to a lot of people biochemists, and I know in the insulin resistance, I know enough about that I spent a lot of time studying it, and I can't backslide on this, okay? And picked up the pounds, and I could tell, and so a couple of weeks ago, that's it. I gotta not let this slide, and I've not had a carbohydrate in almost 2 weeks now. No coffee, nothing. Just good old burgers and meat and things like that. And about 12 of those pounds have melted off. Isn't that funny? Just from eating low carb, high fat. So it's like a miracle cure. It's right at my fingertips. Now I know how it works, but it's not so much the weight as the health, and your metabolic condition, all that sort of thing. So anyway, it's just no particular exercise either. I walk, probably every other day, something like that. Walk a mile, maybe. Yeah, probably don't walk more than a mile about any time. I just feel better if I walk. But I'm not focused on losing weight. It just happens if you're not eating sweets of any kind, carbohydrates, any starches, potatoes, grain, all that stuff. If you're not eating that stuff, you're not gaining weight. Yep, you're just not gaining weight. It's neat. Well, you're losing weight, and until what it does, it balances you at your ideal weight, basically. Okay, it's not like if I don't eat carbohydrates or sugar or anything, I'm going to get down to 65 pounds or something. No, I'll stay at like 212, 215 or something like that, Still 270, whatever. And then on the financial stuff, I was going to say, just one of the best, I don't know if I mentioned that last week, Boglehead. I think I've read 3 of their books in the last week and a half. The Boglehead's book, The Guide to Investing. Man, that is a great place to start. that is the ultimate resource, I think. The Boglehead. They're named after Jack Bogle, John Bogle, who came up with the Vanguard and index funds, and they call themselves the Bogleheads. But they're not goofballs. I mean, it's serious people, smart people. They've got a website, forum, bogleheads.org. Go in there and browse around. Pick up their book, The Guide to, and I'm not sponsored by them, by the way. The book, it's Boglehead's Guide to Investing, I think it's called. I read it, finished it up last week. And then the other marvelous book is the Three Fund Portfolio. The Boglehead's Three Fund Portfolio, I think it's called. It's not very thick. Wonderful. And all of these are easy reading, really. And what else about them? Guide to Investing, yeah, that's what it's called. But anyway, just do some research and you'll be much better for it. I promise you. I promise you. So I just can't help but to kind of share some of that. I share a lot about firearms and have forever, of course, but boy, if I discover something that's really helped me, I just feel like if I'm going to stand around and yak, you know, so much at you on a Sunday or any day, I need to share anything I think is valuable. We have a lot of young people, and we have a lot of people that are like me. They're just slow to learn. You know, it takes us forever to get on track with certain things, right? Mostly things that require discipline. You know, and sometimes that discipline and that self-discipline comes only after we have maybe more knowledge. And I think that's probably what's lacking lots of times when we find out when we have trouble getting motivated to do something, a specific thing, or whatever it is, like lose weight or start saving money better or manage our money better, all that kind of thing, whatever. And there's lots of examples of that. And it feels so overwhelming, you know, and so we just don't get started, you know. But if you increase your knowledge about it, it just makes a world of difference and helps motivate me. I see so many people. I saw someone this morning. I was driving, trying to get my teeth worked out, and some guy jogging, just up and down his driveway or something, and you know, he was overweight, but obviously, and I thought, man, there's so many people like me. I wasn't ever like gigantically overweight. I was like 60, 70 pounds overweight. And I'm active outside, bicycling and, you know, and not jogging in recent years, but just doing things. And in the summer, as I mentioned before, I really couldn't quite understand why I was even more active in the summer. And I would actually be heavier in the summer, kind of weird. And it's not, I finally learned, and I knew it all through those years. It seemed like when I got serious about cutting down on my food, that would have way more impact on exercising. And then the next step was, as I learned more and more and more about it, it's not how much you eat, it's what you eat. It's what you got to cut out totally. And then the pounds just melt off, you know. And so I just wish I could implant in people's brains, because I know if they're going back to, that guy, for example, maybe he went out and he actually jogged for a mile if he was able to, and then felt good about that, and went back and had a big bowl of cereal or a potato and a bunch of rice and stuff, you know, and and sweets, whatever, dessert. I mean, that running almost did nothing, you know, or jogging probably. It's what you eat. Study it. Okay. All right, let me take a shot. I'm like a reformed smoker, you know. I've discovered that I feel so much better, you know. I just want to share it. I have not shot the paper. Oh, one thing I meant to tell you all. How could I forget? Put that over there. I should have turned the camera back on last week. I mean, as soon as I signed off And then I turn the record. I got to reach up and undo that record. This camera, the last two versions of it, they're nice cameras, XA40 Canon, but there's no remote with them anymore, you know. But anyway, so I turn it off, you know, the recording off, and I look around, and that started flaming up almost immediately. It was flaming, and if you were here last week or you saw last week's Sunday video, you know what I'm talking about. And I had to pull it off. I put it on the ground and stomped on it. It would have burned totally, you know. So it's funny, like in the movies. And it was the cardboard. You know how it's corrugated, so it was on fire inside. It was simmering. Many of you commented, you saw that, but it was actually flaming, like literally 30 seconds or less after I signed off. So I should have caught that on video. It's funny. And just let it burn. And just left the camera on until it was all gone. So yeah, so anyway, let me shoot that. Now this might blow it over. Got a lot of blast. Well, how was that estimate for that close? You know, with your differential and your sight and bore line, that's what you got to do. Now if I held, I'll demonstrate. I don't know if you can see those hits or not. I'm going to hold right in the middle of the red, for example. See, that's where it would go. So if you're ever in a close-up firefight, you got to keep that in mind, right? If you're trying to do some precision shooting. I guess I got it. Well, that orange one doesn't look empty. I guess it's empty enough. I guess I'll let you go. Oh, anything else you need to know? Well, I guess not. I'm sure I enjoyed meeting you at Bud's in Lexington, and I hope to meet a lot more of you at Sevierville, you know, the Bud's Gun Shop in Sevierville, Tennessee, on the 2nd of September, and then the 23rd of September at Greenville, Kentucky at Uncle Lee's. Okay, 11 o'clock on all of them. So see you there, and I'll probably see some of you on the road, on the street, at the gas stations, and around, you know, between now and then too. So be sure you say hi. It's never a bother, because you all, as I have said many times, you are responsible for giving me the opportunity to shoot for a living. How's that? Some of you folks that are really avid shooters, you really love it. You love it like me. You really enjoy guns. You collect guns and everything. Imagine if you got tapped on the shoulder by a genie and said, well, since you enjoy your firearms and shooting and reloading or whatever, we're just gonna let you do that for a living. How about that? You know, okay? And so you just you know, get just about any firearm you really want and go shoot it, and that'll be good. It'll be taken care of. We'll cover the expenses. You know? So you are the genie, more or less. Okay, so appreciate you watching, and again, and I'm not just blowing smoke up your skirt. The fact that you watch us, well, maybe just proves you're insane, but it's a testimony to something. I'm not sure what it is, but we're just we appreciate it. What I'm trying to say is, because we're not that glitzy. That's what I'm getting at. All right, and you all still come and watch, so really appreciate it, really do. And I'm gonna let you go, and I got battle. I got to go to war. Got my AR-15. I got my weapon of war. All right, isn't that what you're supposed to do with it? Go to war if you have a weapon of war? Y'all take care. I'll talk to you later. Life is good.